Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Kenner Alien vs. Predator 2-pack. That's right, we're going to go a little retro today, looking at an action figure set from the 90s. I figure with Prometheus hitting theaters in the US this week, it might be fun to kind of take a stroll down memory lane and take a look at one of the old Alien figure sets. So this Alien vs. Predator 2-pack comes on a large blister card showcasing both of the figures within the blister bubble, and some really cool artwork on the top of both the Alien and the Predator. The back of the package gives us little bios on both Predators and Alien characters, as well as a look at all of the various types of both of these figures that were released during Kenner's major run. So this was a pretty popular line back in that era, and it's one of those things that I always think is kind of weird, because both of these movies were rated R, yet we had these huge, successful toy lines geared towards kids. I always think it's funny when stuff like that happens. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the two figures in this set, and we'll start things off by taking a look at the Alien, or better known maybe as the Xenomorph. Now, there are all different kinds of variations of the aliens in the Kenner line. They had all these different mutations and different forms. The one in this set looks like your standard Xenomorph, and he's listed on the back of the package as the Warrior Alien. He looks pretty standard, like the ones that you would see in the Alien films. He's an all-black figure. He's got some really cool detailing going on, though. That's one thing that was really awesome about these, is the sculpts were basic during this era, but there is a lot of detailing going on in the Alien figure here. He does a pretty great job of representing the Xenomorphs as they appeared in the films. He's got lots of cool little tendrils coming off his back, lots of details such as the ridges on his tail. All of that looks really cool on this figure. He's got the really nasty white teeth coming out of the mouth there, and one of the things I think is really neat is the top part of the head is actually made of a really smoky, translucent plastic. So it's not completely clear, but it does give it that really kind of shiny, almost translucent look that the Alien heads have in the films. Now, the articulation is very basic. It's standard for this era, though. 6 points is all we get, with the head turning left and right, both of the arms being able to move up and down, the legs being able to move up and down, and the tail being on a swivel, so you can swing it back and forth. So, like I said, standard, but this was normal for this era of action figures. Now, one of the other things going on with these is that they usually are positioned in stances, meaning even though his legs are articulated, the only thing you're really going to get out of him standing-wise is this wide leg stance that he's got going on, kind of like he's running across the ground. Alright, let's jump over to the second figure in the set, the Predator. Now, Predator's actually got a lot more going on for him, because he actually includes some accessories. The Alien, of course, does not, but he doesn't really need accessories, whereas Predator, being more of a hunter here, he definitely has to have some goods to hunt those aliens. So the detailing on this figure is pretty cool as well. He's got a little more variation with his paint job, of course, and there's actually some really nice shading going on his skin tones there, especially around the legs, where you can see how it kind of fades from a gray to a tan, and then he's wearing some cool brown armor on top of that. Now, the back of the head, you can see his braids hanging down, and then his face is covered by this brown mask. The mask doesn't have a lot of paint going on or anything like that. It's very basic, but it can be removed from the head. You can see it holds real nice and tight over the face. There's 2 pegs coming off of each side that plug into holes that are on his face there. And when you remove it, you got that really grotesque face going on with the mandible jaw and some green glowing eyes. Now, the figure's articulation is basic, just like the Alien's is. He's only got 5 points, with the head moving left and right, the arms both moving up and down, and the legs also being able to move up and down. Once again, his legs are also in a stance. You can see his left foot is kind of bent upwards, where he's only standing on his toes. So there's really only one way you can pose the figure. Now, as far as additional accessories go, he includes 2, one of which is a staff-type weapon with a blade on it. Only his left hand is molded for actually holding weapons. The right hand is wide open. So you can plug this weapon right into his hand, and it holds nice and firm. And one cool thing about this is there's actually a peg on it and a hole on his back, so you can holster it right there on his back if you don't want him holding it. Now while he's got that bladed staff holstered on his back, you can actually have him then hold his blaster in his left hand. He actually holds it kind of funny because the pinky on his hand doesn't actually go around the handle, it goes underneath it. But he does still hold on to it nice. His arm is in that bent position, so there's not a lot of good ways you can actually pose him holding the gun, but he does still look pretty cool with it, especially when he's got it like held up towards his head there, just ready to hunt down some aliens. So there you go, guys. There's a look at your Alien vs. Predator set from Kenner Toys. These figures are very basic, yes, but they're classic, man. There's some definite nostalgia connection going on with these. Despite the fact that they have very minimal articulation and the detailing's not up to the standards of today's figures, there is no doubt that these are still among some of the coolest action figures out there. If you're a big fan of either Alien or Predator, Kenner had a lot of really neat offerings to pick up. And the cool thing is, they're not very expensive, so they're very cheap and easy to pick up these days. So if you want to take a stroll down memory lane and grab some of these for your collection, I would highly recommend checking them out. Until next time.